Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. If you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive straight into today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Godzilla Moon from the subreddit Off My Chest, and it's titled "My Stepdaughter Wants Her Real Dad to Give Her Away." My stepdaughter will be getting married on August 3rd. The wedding planning has consumed most of hers and her mother's life. I say her mother because we aren't married, though we lived together for 10 years, for the past 6 months. My stepdaughter graduated last December from university. I paid for her to go to college, though it was a state school. It still ran $40,000. She does not have a job and has been living with us for the duration of her college career and since her graduation. I bought her a car to get her back and forth from school when she finished high school. From time to time, her deadbeat father would pop into her life and she would fawn all over him. Although he has not contributed a cent to her education or paid any child support, though that is my girlfriend's fault, as child support was not part of the settlement. She still loves him and wants him in her life. He stays long enough to break her heart by skipping town and breaking some promise that he made her. The wedding venue holds 250 people max. I gave them a list of 20 people that I wanted invited. Since I was paying for everything. They told me that was no problem and that they'd take care of it. So I let these people know they'd be getting an invite and they should save the date. Saturday, I saw one of my friends on the list at the golf course and asked if he was coming. He told me that he wasn't invited. He told me that he got an announcement but not an invitation. He had it in his back seat, along with probably 6 months of mail, and he showed it to me. Sure enough, it was just an announcement, and my name was nowhere on it. It had her dad's name and her mum's name and not mine. This led to a pretty big fight with my girlfriend, as I found out that none of my list of 20 made the cut for the final guest list because 250 people is very tight. I was pissed, but not a hell of a lot I could do because the important people in my life had already been offended. My girlfriend said if some people didn't RSVP, yes, I might have been able to get a couple in, but that is an ultimate slap in the face in my opinion. So I was boiling on Saturday. Yesterday, we had a Sunday dinner with the future in-laws family and us and a surprise guest, the real dad. At this little dinner, my stepdaughter announced that her real dad was going to be able to make it to her wedding and that now he'd be able to give her away. This was greeted with a chorus of, "Oh, how great and how wonderful." I don't think I've ever felt so angry and so disrespected. I was shaking. I took a few seconds to gather my composure because I honestly wasn't sure if I would cry or start throwing punches or both. Once I was sure I'd be able to speak, I got up from my chair and said I'd like to make a toast. I can't remember exactly what I said, but the gist of it was this: I'd like to make a toast. The sounds of spoons against glasses ring in my ears. It has been my great pleasure to be a part of this family for the past 10 years. Oh, how sweet. At this point in my life, I feel I owe a debt of gratitude to bride and groom because they have opened my eyes to something very important. Then confident smiles exchange, and OP continued. They have shown me that my position in this family is not what I once thought it was, and how a glimmer of confusion and shock begins to spread on the faces in the room. Though I once thought of myself as the patriarch or godfather of the family, commanding great respect and sought out for help in times of need, it seems instead that I hold the position of an ATM, good for a stream of money but not much else, as I have been replaced as host, both on the invitations and in the ceremony. I am resigning my financial duties as host to my successor, real dad. So cheers to the happy couple and the path they have chosen. I finished my drink. You can all let yourselves out. Is this selfish? I'm supposed to shell out 40 to 50 grand for a wedding that I can't invite anyone to, that I'm not a part of. I'm so done with this crap. I'm done with my stepdaughter. I'm done with my girlfriend. I transferred the money out of our joint account last night. She has not had a job since she moved in with me. This morning, I called all the vendors I'd written checks to for deposits to refund my money. At present, it looks like I'll lose around $1,500 for the venue, but the other vendors have been great about refunding. And of course, we do have an update to this post as well. But USA is Best says, I am a real dad as well as a stepdad, divorced, remarried. My biological son was married a few years back. He lived with his mum and stepdad since he was probably 10. I consider his stepdad as much more of a dad than me. He raised them better than I ever could and provided a better role model than I did. I was invited to the wedding and gave cash towards it, but just what I could afford, about $2,000, and I was allowed to invite about 10 guests, but the ceremony was about 100 miles away, so only about 4 of my scumbag family responded. I guess what I'm rambling on about is I know my place. I hate this feeling says I would have been even angrier. You paid for a college, you were going to pay for a wedding, and they couldn't even do the bare minimum of inviting your 20 people. That is just pure disrespect towards you. I would get out of that toxic environment right away. Breeze says, you handled that beautifully. I'm a young woman with both a real dad and a stepdad in my life that I love very much. I've often wondered which would walk me down the aisle. My 2 dads hate each other, so I worry about offending the other. Would you have felt better if she asked the both of you to walk her down the aisle, as in one dad on each arm? Opie replies saying, your situation is probably different than ours. If real dad has contributed time and money to raising you throughout your life, has shared in alleviating the anguish that is bringing up a teenage girl rather than contributing to it, then you should be fine. Ask them both to meet you. Ask them to do it as a favor to you. No man can refuse that. Fire in the Darkness says, I think it is disrespectful from both your stepdaughter and girlfriend. I don't know how they managed to invite 250 people but not the 20 people you wanted. 20 isn't much and not feel guilty. You handled it beautifully. Your girlfriend should have been by your side trying to make you a part of the wedding too, since you are the one paying. If she didn't even think of talking to you about the real dad thing before, if she actually knew as your partner, it is incredibly stupid. If you can't pay for your own wedding and someone else does, at least try to make that person happy and respect them. And one more from LRG in charge who says, since you are paying for the wedding, yes, it is extremely disrespectful to list others on the invitation and not you. That is exactly the opposite of what any wedding etiquette expert will tell you. When it lists her mum and real dad, it is in essence saying that is who is paying for the wedding, as to inviting who you want and who is walking you down the aisle. I agree with you completely there as well, although it could be argued that the bride gets to choose those things. Again, I totally agree that as the person paying, you should get to invite 20 people, especially because 250 guests is an insane amount of guests. But in terms of the actual black and white rules of wedding etiquette, by omitting your name from the invitation, they have absolutely figuratively slapped you across the face. Source: I got married 6 months ago and did an insane amount of research on wedding etiquette and invitation wording. So OP came in with 2 little updates. One said, the immediate aftermath was tantrum and people sitting there mumbling while not actually saying anything to me, but to each other. After much yelling with the girlfriend about me being selfish, I spent the night in my home and no one knocked on my door, not once. Today's aftermath is kind of depressing for me. Girlfriend brought me bride's wedding planner to show me how much work I was ruining. I thumbed through it, found a page in the music section for father/daughter dances. All of the songs were catered to real dad's taste, so I thought they were just being disrespectful, but now I'm feeling like they never really gave a crap at all. Especially since the menu included 2 ingredients I'm allergic to. That actually made me laugh. Either way, I'm glad to be done. Returned the planner and asked her when she and bride can move out. Also, I never promised to pay for the wedding. I offered them to use my home when they were sure it was going to be small. But other than that, all I've heard is how it's the bride's family that should pay. So let it be the bride's family then. AKA, not me. And final update. Girlfriend and bride are now moved out. They're moving in with the groom. It was very hard not to be petty with some of the belongings they took with them. But it's done, and I switched out the locks and now it's time for a brew. I can't believe how popular this story got, but I feel good to be given the support by so many. If I find out what happens with the wedding, I will let you know, but I can't guarantee that I'll put the effort to find out. From what I've heard, they are trying to scale things back and get his parents to help out. Girlfriend burned bridges when I found out she tried to write herself a check on our joint account the day after the unpleasantness. But then I'd already moved money, so I guess I'm a bigger ass than her. But I could feel it coming. That's all, and thanks. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, I was browsing our own subreddit, r/Mark Narrations, and Aphrodite says, "Take a look at this one, Mark. If I was the aunt, I'd do more than pack her bags." And then shared the link to this post, which is from a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for throwing my niece out of my house?" I, 48 female, have a beautiful daughter, Amelia, 17 female. I'm a single mother because Amelia's father left before she was born, and she is my whole entire world. Amelia is also a teen mother to my beautiful grandson, Owen, 1 male. I'm obviously not proud of her for being a teen mother, but I am extremely proud of her for how she is handling everything. She is an amazing mother, and she is still doing very well at school. She is dating Owen's father, Raymond, 17 male, who is a lovely kid too. They all live with me in my home, and I provide for them financially with some support from Raymond's family. I'm a lawyer, and I'm lucky enough to be able to work from home most of the time, so I care for my grandson during the day while Raymond and Amelia are at school. When I have to go into work, Raymond's family looks after Owen. Recently, my sister called and asked me if I could allow her daughter, Stephanie, 19 female, to move in with me. It's difficult to find a place to live in our city, so I agreed to let her move in for free. I'm very big on family taking care of each other, so I didn't want to charge my sister's daughter rent. I immediately noticed that Stephanie was being weird about Amelia being a teen mother. She'd make tasteless jokes, and I immediately took her aside and told her that I wouldn't tolerate any sort of teasing. I've hired a tutor for both Amelia and Raymond just for extra support, and when Stephanie found out, she rolled her eyes and said they wouldn't need one had they just been responsible. She also said that I was rewarding bad behavior, but I told her that I like to take care of my family, just as how I allowed her to move in for free. Then I realized that Stephanie was taking some of Amelia's clothing without permission. When she first moved in, I told her that in my home, we asked for permission before taking other people's belongings, so I was pretty annoyed at it. Amelia asked Stephanie to return a shirt that she had taken, and she refused and said that Amelia didn't need it back because she didn't fit into it. Amelia did gain weight as a result of pregnancy and breastfeeding, and it's made her very insecure. There was a shirt she wore pre-baby. She keeps it so she can use it to motivate herself to lose weight. I told Stephanie to return it immediately and apologize, but she refused. We got into a massive argument that resulted in me packing her bags and calling her mother to come and get her. Everyone in the family is bombarding me with phone calls, calling me the arsehole for kicking her out. I fear I may have been too extreme, and I could have tried to sort it out before it got bad. Am I the arsehole? And to me, this is a very simple one. This is just consequences of arseholish behavior. You go into someone's home, someone who's letting you live there rent-free. All I can say, if that was me, if I was in that position, someone let me go into their house, live rent-free, I'd be so respectful, so thankful. And I'd like to think that, we'd be respectful anyway. But let's go over what she's done. She's making tasteless jokes and also saying things like they wouldn't need a tutor if they had just been responsible, and then criticizing you at the same time by saying, that you're rewarding that bad behavior, and then taking her clothing and just refusing to give it back. Who the F goes into someone else's house when you're living there rent-free and does this kind of stuff? Who would want to live with that? No one. I'd have that person out of the house as well. OP sounds like a loving and very family-orientated person, but at the same time, not someone to be walked all over. If I was Stephanie in this position, you let me move in, I'd be trying to make your life as easy as possible. Just out of respect for the respect that you've shown me to allow me to move in like that, rent-free. A dog mother says, so your freeloading niece comes into your rent-free home, bullies your daughter, steals her things, and your family think you are the bad guy for packing her bags. They're having a laugh. Tell them to feel free to take her in if they feel that strongly. Not the arsehole. Royally Oki says not the arsehole. Stephanie decided to bite the hand that feeds her. If she can't follow the rules, she simply can't stay. Your other family members can offer their own support if they are that concerned. Prudent Border says not the arsehole. On a side note, I think you are a wonderful mother. Should be proud of your daughter and her boyfriend. They sound like responsible young adults. Your niece is entitled and rude. If the family is so stuck on you kicking her out, they can have her live with them. Her behavior is horrible. And again, we face one of those situations again where you're being called the arsehole for kicking her out, yet I don't see anyone else around here offering to take her in. Typical, right? Sarah Gill says, why should you have to tolerate someone bullying your kid in your own home? Why should you have to tolerate someone who is stealing your daughter's things and then refusing to give it back? The family can F off, not the arsehole. And one more from Adarumadol who says, not the arsehole, you handled yourself with grace, patience and love. Seriously, well done. You were very gracious to let your niece live there for free and have the opportunity to get set up in life. You set clear boundaries and she trampled all over them. You also gave her ample time to shape up. Furthermore, you didn't let the nastiness towards your daughter go unchecked. Simply put, you made all the right moves, and you kicking her out was definitely the right move. I would venture to say she is jealous of the support you give your daughter and her success because of it. Enough so that it blinded her towards appreciating what you gave to her. She really shot herself in the foot. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. This one comes from Awayad4392 who says, am I the arsehole for telling my close family and friends about my sister robbing me? Throwaway account for reasons of not being found, but I would like some sanity check and opinion if I did anything wrong. So a couple of months ago, my sister, 34, decided to sell some of my prized possessions, a VR kit and board games from the attic. I stored them whilst she was living with us and going through the housing process, and once they were done, I would just take them out and start using them. However, a couple of months ago, whilst getting something from the attic, I noticed that my VR kit and some board games were missing. So I decided to investigate and found that she had sold it. When confronted about it, she said, so what? And you know what you've done. She did not explain further as I was pissed and my parents intervened whilst her kid was downstairs. From then, have not spoken to her and locked my possession and set up cameras. My parents gave her a talking to not do it again. Fast forward to her moving out. I rechecked my stuff if they are still there, and lo and behold, they have vanished. I was angry, so I decided to post it on social media to my close friends and family, and basically outing her as a shitty person. My mum said I shouldn't have and that it should be kept within the family, not my other family, and she would get better over time. I'm not bothered by the possessions, but the principle here. You don't steal stuff off family members. I feel angry and hurt it happened again, and my parents are telling me not to tell anyone. Am I the arsehole for outing their shitty behavior on social media? The person is beyond reasoning, so talking is not an option. And we start off with Shalala, who says, not the arsehole, your parents are enabling her by not calling out the behavior. Tono-sama says, you could tell your mum that you could have reported your sister to the police and that the amount would have possibly been a felony. This was the lesser of the two. Having been outed is better than being arrested. Not the arsehole. Motor Business says, not the arsehole. Tell your sister and your mum this. Either you get the money from her or from sister, does not matter, to replace the stolen things within 2 weeks, or you will make a police report and go after her for her theft. You have her on camera taking the stuff. That will make it even easier. If your mum wants to keep the lid on it, she can repay you. And go no contact with your sister. If anybody asks, just tell them the truth. She's a thief and stole from you. The Ashen Demon says, as much as I hate people posting all their family drama online because that's almost never helpful and kind of immature, I think you are pretty justified here, so I'll make an exception and say not the arsehole. But I'd call the police too. She's clearly not going to learn anytime soon. And Any Blackberry says not the arsehole. Call her out as loudly and publicly as you can. I'd gather evidence, any texts or social media messages, and you said you have cameras, and file a police report too, and demand either return of items or reimbursement. The shittiest part of this isn't even just the theft or the parents enabling, it is that the thief is raising a child who will learn it's okay to steal even from family, and actions have no real consequences. And H. Williams says not the arsehole. If she will rob her own family, she will for sure steal from anyone else. Might she get better? Sure, but not until she gets called out on shit she decides she wants to get better. Sounds like your parents are worried about the optics with your thief sister and not her actually being a thief. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? What would you suggest OP do? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories and within the channel in general. As always, I think it's just absolutely amazing, and I'm always blown away by the support, not just towards me, but towards one another as well. So thank you so much for just being incredible, and please keep doing so. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care.